There is a specific dollar amount that transforms you from a bank's favorite customer into their worst nightmare. It's not $1 million. It's not even $100,000. It is exactly $20,000. Below this number, you aren't just living, you are surviving in a minefield engineered to keep you down. You know the feeling. It's the constant mental math you do at the grocery store checkout to make sure you don't go over budget. It's the panic that sets in when the check engine light turns on. It's the brutal reality where being poor is actually expensive. If that sounds familiar, you aren't alone. Statistics show that nearly 60% of Americans are living this way right now, paycheck to paycheck, walking a financial tightrope where one single slip up means disaster. But here's the secret the industry doesn't want you to know. This isn't an accident. Your bank doesn't want you bankrupt because bankrupt people can't pay debts. But they absolutely don't want you financially free because free people don't pay fees. They want you in the sweet spot. Just broke enough to keep swiping. Just broke enough to carry a balance. Just broke enough to remain their most profitable product. And today, we are going to talk about the one number that breaks their entire business model. If you are tired of being a profitable victim and want to learn the money rules they intentionally didn't teach you in school, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. We are decoding the financial system one video at a time so you can stop being a product and start being a player. Let's get into it. Let's start by defining the battlefield. Why $20,000? Why is this specific number the magic threshold? You have probably heard financial gurus talk about the $1,000 emergency fund. Dave Ramsey made it famous. And 30 years ago, $1,000 was a decent safety net. But in today's economy, $1,000 isn't a safety net. It is a napkin. One transmission failure in your car, that is $3,000. A single ER visit with a high deductible plan, that is $5,000. A sudden layoff, $1,000 covers maybe 2 weeks of rent and groceries. The reason $20,000 is the magic number is because it represents roughly 4 to 6 months of expenses for the average individual. It is the bridge between panic and process. Let me tell you a quick story about two people. Let's call them Alex and Ben. Alex has $500 in savings. Ben has $20,000. Both of them drive to work on a Tuesday, and both of their cars break down. Same car, same problem, same repair bill. $2,000. For Ben, this is an inconvenience. He is annoyed. He has to take an Uber to work. He transfers the money from his high-yield savings account, pays the mechanic, and by Friday, he has forgotten it even happened. For Alex, this is a catastrophe. He doesn't have the money. He can't get to work, so he risks losing his job. He puts the repair on a credit card at 29% interest. Now he is stressed. He is fighting with his spouse about money. He is losing sleep. That one event sets off a spiral that takes him 3 years to recover from. That is the difference. $20,000 turns emergencies into inconveniences. But that's just the defensive side. The offensive side is where it gets interesting. When you cross this line, you stop feeding the 5 distinct revenue streams that banks rely on. Let's break down exactly how the banking system extracts wealth from those below the line and why they hate it when you cross it. Profit source number 1, the overdraft trap. Did you know that banks made over $7 billion in overdraft fees last year alone? That is $7 billion taken almost exclusively from people who have no money. It works like this. You have $50 in your account. You buy a coffee for $5, lunch for $15, and then a bill hits for $40. You are technically negative. The bank doesn't decline the transaction. Oh no. They let it go through, and then they slap you with a $35 fee. Some banks even use algorithms to reorder your transactions, processing the largest ones first to drain your account faster, ensuring that the smaller transactions trigger multiple fees. You could end up paying $100 in fees for buying $10 worth of goods when you have $20,000 sitting there. This revenue stream disappears. You never overdraft. You never pay the fee. The bank makes $0 from your mistakes. Profit source number 2, desperation products. When you are broke and you need money fast, you lose the ability to ask questions. You lose the ability to shop around. The industry knows this. This is why payday loans exist. This is why title loans exist. This is why buy now, pay later schemes are exploding. These are products designed for desperate people. A payday loan can have an annual interest rate of 400%. Think about that. No rational person with savings would ever agree to that. But a desperate person, a person trying to keep the lights on, they will sign anything. Banks and lenders love desperation because desperation creates price inelasticity. That's a fancy economic term that means you will pay whatever we ask. When you have $20,000, you become your own bank. You lend money to yourself at 0% interest. You kill their most predatory market. Profit source number 3, the deadbeat dilemma. This is my favorite one. In the credit card industry, they categorize customers into 2 groups. Group A carries a balance month to month. They pay interest, they pay late fees. These people are called revolvers. The banks love revolvers. They are the cash cows. Group B pays off their bill in full every single month. They use the card for the points, the cash back, and the fraud protection, but they never pay a cent in interest. Do you know what the internal industry term is for these people? They call them deadbeats. Seriously, you are a deadbeat to them because you are using their infrastructure without giving them a profit. In fact, if you use a high reward card, you are actually costing them money. People with $20,000 in savings are almost always deadbeats. They use credit cards as tools, not as crutches. Banks spend millions on marketing to try and convert deadbeats back into revolvers, but once you have that savings cushion, you become immune to the trap. Profit source number 4, maintenance fees. This is the most insulting one. If your balance is low, many banks charge you a monthly maintenance fee of $12 to $15. Think about the logic here. They are charging you money for not having enough money. It is a penalty for being poor. It's roughly $180 a year just to have a place to put your paycheck. But if you maintain a minimum balance, usually $1,500 or $5,000, they waive the fee. With $20,000, you clear that hurdle easily. Another revenue stream dries up. Profit source number 5, the emotional spending tax. This one isn't a direct fee, but it is a psychological mechanism that banks profit from. When you are financially stressed, your cortisol levels spike, you are in pain. And the human brain is wired to seek relief from pain. What is the quickest way to get a hit of dopamine in the modern world? Buying something. It sounds counterintuitive, but people with less money often spend more impulsively on small luxuries. It is a coping mechanism. It is a way to feel in control for just a moment. Retailers and credit card companies know this. They target you with ads right when you are most vulnerable. But when you have $20,000, that low-level anxiety hum quiets down. You don't need the retail therapy. You can walk past the sale. You can wait for a better deal. You stop buying things to feel better, and you start buying assets to get richer. This brings us to the most important part of this video. The math is simple, but the psychology is where the battle is won or lost. There is a concept in behavioral economics called scarcity brain. Researchers Senthil Mullainathan and Eldar Shafir discovered that when you are obsessed with a lack of something like money, your brain literally functions differently. It creates a bandwidth tax. Their studies showed that being in financial poverty drops your functional IQ by up to 13 points. That is the same effect as going a full night without sleep. When you are under $20,000, your brain is constantly running background apps. Can I afford this? What if the rent bounces? How much gas is in the tank? This mental noise makes it impossible to think strategically. You can't plan 5 years out when you are worried about 5 days out. But the moment you cross that $20,000 threshold, the noise stops. The background apps close. You reclaim that mental bandwidth. This is abundance brain. Let me give you a real-life example of how this plays out in your career. Imagine you have a boss who is toxic. He is disrespectful, he overworks you, and he refuses to give you a raise. If you have zero savings, you have to take it. Your body language screams submission. You don't negotiate because you are terrified of hearing no. You are trapped. Your boss can smell that fear, and he exploits it. Now, imagine the same scenario, but you have $20,000 in the bank. You walk into that office differently. You sit differently. When he makes an unreasonable demand, you can push back. You can say, "That doesn't work for me." Why? Because you have walk-away power. You know that if he fires you today, you will be fine for 6 months. You are not asking for a raise from a place of begging. You are negotiating a business deal. And ironically, people who are willing to walk away are usually the ones who get the raise. $20,000 buys you dignity. It buys you the ability to say no. And that is a power that money cannot usually buy. Okay, so we know why we need it, but how do we get there? I know $20,000 feels like a mountain if you are staring at a zero balance, but you don't climb a mountain in a single jump. You do it in stages. Here is the realistic, boring, unsexy truth about how to get there. Step 1, the gap audit. You need to find the gap between your income and your survival expenses. Not your fun expenses, your survival ones. If that gap is 0, you have an income problem and you need a second job or a side hustle immediately. If that gap is positive, even $50, we can work with that. Step 2, the sprint phase. Most people try to save purely through willpower over a long time. That fails. Instead, try a sprint. Pick a short period, say 3 months, where you go into monk mode. No eating out, no subscriptions, no drinking, nothing. You live on the bare minimum. It sucks. It's boring, but it jumpstarts your fund. Seeing that balance go from $0 to $2,000 in a few months is addictive. It proves to you that it is possible. Step 3, automate the invisible money. Set up an automatic transfer the day after payday. If you wait until the end of the month to save what is left over, there will be nothing left over. Parkinson's law states that expenses will always rise to match income. You have to steal the money from yourself before you can spend it. Step 4, weaponize your windfalls. The average tax refund is around $3,000. For most people, that money vanishes into a new TV or a vacation. If you are under $20,000, you do not have the luxury of a vacation yet. That refund is your freedom fund. Throw every bonus, every tax refund, every birthday check into the pile. Step 5, the waiting game. This is the hardest part. Let's say you can save $400 a month. That is nearly $5,000 a year. It will take you 4 years to hit $20,000. That sounds like a long time. But guess what? Those 4 years are going to pass anyway. You can arrive at the year 2030 with $20,000 in the bank and total control over your life, or you can arrive there exactly where you are today, stressed, tired, and profitable for the bank. The time will pass regardless. You get to choose what you have to show for it. The banking system is designed to keep you on the hamster wheel. They build marble lobbies and skyscrapers with the interest payments of people who didn't have a plan. Getting to $20,000 is not about being rich. It is not about buying a Lamborghini. It is about switching sides. It is about moving from playing defense, where you are always reacting, always scared, always paying, to playing offense. Every dollar you save is a soldier that fights for you, not for them. Every time your balance grows, their leverage shrinks. Make them hate you. Be a deadbeat. Get to 20,000. If this video gave you a new perspective on your savings, hit the like button so the algorithm shares this with more people who need to hear it. And comment below, what is your freedom number? Is it $20K or is it something else? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Go stack that cash.